I'm Andrew Hall. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm a senior majoring in Management Information Systems and Political Science.
And I'm Morgan Patrick. I'm also from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm a senior majoring in Political Science and Communication Studies. And to the left of me, we have Senator Daines, and I'll let him introduce himself as well.
I'm U.S. Senator Steve Daines. I studied chemical engineering, Roll Tide. I'm here as a guest at the Shelby Institute, and just honored to be here. I represent the great state of Montana.
So just to start out, you worked with Senator Shelby for a number of years in the Senate. What recollection do you have of working with him as a colleague?
Well, Senator Shelby was such a kind-hearted gentleman and such a passionate leader. And I always just so much appreciated his southern, gentlemanly ways of being able to get so much done. When I served with him in the Senate, I served on the Appropriations Committee as the chairman. We just referred to him as the chairman because he just was really a force in Washington, D.C. in so many ways and represented Alabama so well and passionate about his country. You yearn for those kind of leaders who are just love America, love the state, so helpful in helping us fund our U.S. military. Think about these important issues that we face today, and I'll tell you, he's dearly missed in Washington.
Kind of going off of Andrew's question, how you attributed strong driving forces and traits, what leadership traits do you attribute to Senator Shelby during his time in the Senate?
Well, I'll tell you, he was always very personable and kept it very personal. Somebody he'd kind of come and put his hand on your shoulder and kind of pull you up close and chat quietly with you. And that's an important part of making a difference in Washington, D.C. This is it's people. It's about relationship. It's about trust. And, he's somebody who kept a good sense of humor too, and that's important. In the heat of the moment, to be able to come up and kind of say something to you, and always had that laugh that kept us all smiling. And that's, I think, just one of many reasons why he was such an effective leader when he served in the United States Senate.
So you mentioned that you were on the Appropriations Committee when he was chairman. Mm-hmm. Can you think of a time where he demonstrated effective leadership skills as chairman to push forward an appropriations bill that may have benefited Alabama and Montana?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, he is somebody who listened to all of his members. And that's a really important part. When you're the chairman, you've got to solicit input from all of your members, your Senate members. And, it was not only Richard Shelby, but it's also the people he hires, because, of course, when you are the leader, you also hire the right people. And as we say in Washington, people equals policy. He had such a great team that we could have these conversations with, whether it's on military funding or other parts of the budget. And I found that he was always so receptive. He supported our mission. For example, our ICBMs out in Montana. We have the intercontinental ballistic missiles in Montana, a very important part of our national security posture. And, Richard and I are working on that to make sure that there was adequate funding for these important missions. And, he's just somebody too that I just wasn't afraid to go up to him, and sometimes you get in conflicts, so forth, maybe with other members, whether even across the aisle or on your side of the aisle. And Richard always had a way to kind of resolve that. It reminds me when you got a big fish, if you're fly fishing in Montana, you don't want to pull too hard and snap the line off. He just knew how to kind of play that fish, to kind of in a careful way there to get the right outcome for both sides.
As we know, there's lots of challenges that senators face in the U.S. Senate. Can you recall a time where you and Senator Richard Shelby faced a challenge and, despite differences amongst the Senate, found common ground to get a resolution?
Yeah, I remember the days, certainly, when we hit those difficult times going back, even like with COVID and so forth. And, those were challenging moments. And to see what we had to do there is we saw the volatility, certainly, in the financial numbers. There was a day when the WTI, the West Texas Intermediate crude number, actually went negative. Oil price went negative for a period of time, for several hours. These were really challenging times, and that's when you want to have a steady hand of leadership. You think about funding and messaging we got to be sending out there to say it's going to be okay. We've got to work this out. he really, as there's an old saying, it takes a steady hand to hold a full cup. Richard always kept a steady hand in moments of crisis.